Good evening, everyone. Let's call to order for the E911 board. Let us stand for the invocation, please. Let's bow our heads. Oh, gracious Father, thank you for a day within our lives that you have given us, oh Lord. Lord, we come to you as a whole, as a body, as a group, to send up prayers for Mr. Baker and his family, oh Lord. We thank you for protecting him, oh Father God. Would you please continue to guide and lead him in the direction that you want to, oh Lord. Lord, bless this parish and everyone in it, oh Father. Give us the wisdom and the knowledge, oh Father. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Father, me in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yes.
Any additions and deletions to the E911 board? There's not any guest and public comments to E911 board? Okay, if not, new business. Authorize payment, approve of bills, and accept the financial statement as of August 31st, 2024, and year-to-date budget. The actual report prepared by Deeds and Brown and CPA. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion. Who made the motion?
Yeah.
Mr. Jones?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Simpson and Mr. Ryan. Raines. Discussion? Any discussion? There's no discussion on this issue. Would you please vote? Motion passes. Item 2, approve August 19th, 2024 minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion. Somebody second? Second by Mr. Nick. Any discussion on approving the minutes? There's no discussion. Would you please vote? Motion passes. A motion to adjourn. You won't have anything to say? Motion to adjourn for E911 board.
So moved.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Ms. Simpson. Have a second? I guess, yeah, to adjourn. Got a second by Mr. Nick. We'll adjourn from the 911 board. Thank you. We're gonna roll right into our public hearing. Any guest and public comments on the public hearing? There's not none. Guest and public comments are protesting the tax assessment with DeSoto Parish assessor and Gardner are available for answering the question on protested tax assessment addressed by the jurors as necessary. Oh.
How are you?
All right.
I'm Hoss Cordray. I'll be speaking for Ann Gannon.
Yes, sir.
It's probably the last time we see Ms. Gannon. You sure you want to speak for her? We haven't spoken to her in a year.
She's training me well before she
Okay.
goes out.
Yeah.
We had no protest.
Yes, sir. Okay. No protests at all. Well, we thank you. Yeah. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion to adjourn from the public hearing. Got a motion by Mr. Parker,
Second.
a second by Mr. Clark. We adjourn from the public hearing. We'll roll right into our regular meeting. Any announcements? The regular meeting? Any call for additions and deletions to the regular meeting? Being none, any guests and public comments for the regular meeting? I think we have one, Miss Lisa. Two. Please come, Miss Lisa.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. I'm Lisa Lebrano Burson. I'm the clerk of court for DeSoto Parish. Pursuant to the law, I'm providing y'all with my financial report for the 2023-2024 fiscal year for the clerk's office. So y'all are aware these are unaudited financials. We are in an office-wide audit as well as in the middle of the legislative audit. So the unaudited financials, revenues were $2,211,714,012. That exceeded the budget of original budget. There were extra revenues last year. Personnel expenses were $2,059,513.89. Operating expenses were $709,062.82. Capital outlay expenses of $20,094.88, ending with a budget deficit for the year of $576,957.47. That is less than the original budgeted deficit, and that's due to some revenues exceeding budget, a little bit less on the personnel expenses. Just so y'all know, we have an archives building. That building currently cost $36,000 for rent per year. My electricity last year was $11,633.05. Gas, $2,661.62. Water was $1,194.99. The dumpster was $1,322.53. Cleaning services for that building were $7,800. Lawn care was $6,070. Our revenues, we had 67 total transactions at that office for the entire 12-month fiscal year period. Our revenues were $1,076.50 for the entire year. The cost of that building is $995.26 per customer, if you average it out. All of those expenses exclude payroll, staffing, insurance, office supplies, internet, phones to keep that building open. The IT expenses for last year for ClerkNet, that includes ClerkNet, which is our software provider, was $126,447.54. There was a staff employee in IT of $126,130.54 for a total of $252,578.08 in 2022 and 2023. The total, including a portion of that year, was also an employee. That total was $221,195.72. And in 2021-2022, the amount was $175,382.27. The increase from 22-23 to 23-24 was 14%, and the two-year increase was 44%. So in 2023-2024, there were 23 full-time, 1 part-time staff. I originally was not necessarily in a position to calculate the difference between last year and the anticipated this year because we had some offsets. But I can, and I did this morning. I've cut the staff down to 12 full-time, 2 part-time, and it's projected to save $850,000, 8 cents, or $8. So, so the increase in staffing over the last 2 years was just under 25%. Attorney fee expenses for the fiscal year last year, $81,298.03. The payment from the clerk's office for 1/2 of the judgment that was rendered against the office and the former head of the office was $6,071.39, and the attorney's fees that I've been able to calculate spent on that matter were $33,004.23. There were 2 attorneys on retainer. $18,000 and $15,000 per year, plus the billing hourly for one of those attorneys. In 2022, 2023, it was $53,979.58. And then without going through each year, going all the way back to 2019, 2020, the attorney fee expenses were $30,139. So the increase from 2022 to 2023, 2024 was over 50%. And the increase from 2019 to 2020 was a 79.1% increase. And if you look at the actual like change all the way to 23, 24, it was 169% increase in spending. I have been looking through all the records. I went all the way back to 2013. I wasn't able to find bills with actual amounts that the police jury paid the clerk's office for court days and court sessions. So I don't know if y'all overpaid my office or not for those 2013 years. But in 2014 to now, the clerk's office, or at least, let me rephrase that, from 2014 to at least the end of May of 2024, the bill for June went under my tenure. The police jury was overpaying the clerk's office $5 per session per day. And so I recalculated everything, and we were overpaid $7,040. So what I've been doing is, on the bills that we send y'all every month, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that off until, y'all have been, received your money back. We've had office cell phones when I came in. There were 4 cell phones a month, over $500 a month expenses. There was a cable TV service with 3 streaming services. And currently I've closed 48 registry accounts at one bank, 32 registry accounts at the other, consolidated them, and I'm working on keeping that consolidated. We have 25 CDs, some of these going all the way back to the late 90s. So what I'm really working on, and I want y'all to know, is I'm trying to get to where I can be sustainable, because at the current rate that I inherited, we would be bankrupt in 3.7 years. And so the burden then becomes what happens after that. There's some law about the police jury's requirements to help us. There's a cap. But then it just becomes a problem if, we can't operate, you don't have land records, you don't have elections, you don't have things that y'all need to function as a parish. So that's my report. I will take questions from anybody.
Any questions from the jurors? No, I just got an opinion. Thank you for bringing us the
Yes.
numbers.
Pardon?
Thank you for bringing us the numbers.
And what I'll
Yes.
do, because again, I was working on some of this all the way up to today, I will just kind of give y'all my notes
Yeah.
that I made for today, and I will send it over to Ms. Jody Ziegler to distribute to the jurors. And if
Thank
y'all have any questions, y'all can call me on my cell phone at the office, or y'all can email me directly.
One
Thank you.
question.
Go ahead, Mr. Jones.
Are you still operating the building over there? Because it seemed like I passed by it. I didn't think.
The
you-
archives building?
Right, the archives
It
building.
is.
It is.
I've cut the staff down, because honestly, I'll just be frank, I don't know what some of the staff did there during the day. Again, because y'all heard how many transactions, 67 transactions. And so the staff now is, I have one part-time lady that's scanning old suit records and things like that, going back to the 50s and 60s, and then I can see when she's scanning it in. And then I have my archives, kind of guy, I guess, I don't know what to call him, deputy, who helps research. He's very Johnny on the spot. And then we have 2 other ladies who also float back and forth between the Stonewall office and the archives building, because Stonewall can get very lonely.
Yeah.
So, and I'm working on kind of doing kind of another financial assessment of Stonewall, but that's gonna come after I'm able to get, hopefully, this archives building shut back down, and bring those records over to us. So,
I had one question.
yes, sir.
Who were the attorneys that were on
Kenneth
Retainer.
Haynes and Ronald J. Machota.
Machota? Okay. And what would be the reason for having an attorney on retainer constantly?
In all fairness, you know, for non-lawyers, there are questions that do come up about how do you handle certain items, how do you handle certain procedures, whereas, you know, the question is, you know, are you practicing law? If you have a legal question by one of the deputies or staff, I'm equipped to handle all of those, so. So there is a need for that, I mean, but it's a low need. You're not getting calls every day, or I don't have staff coming in every single day with a legal question about how to handle a particular process or issue.
That's your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions?
Just a point of clarification, just because I know you, in case people don't know, she is a lawyer, so so she can handle some of those things in-house, I think was implied there.
Yes, correct.
Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Okay, next, Miss Amanda Raines.
Spelled messed up and you got it right. Mine's at least spelled right.
Yeah.
I'm Amanda Raines. I'm the Registrar of Voters for DeSoto Parish. I wanted to come before y'all to give a quick minor legislative update. There were many election laws that were clarified and changed, and if anyone wants a comprehensive report of that, I can email that to you. But I'm doing this mainly for the public's benefit and to ask you guys to help me get the word out, because I know some of these items would be regularly violated here. So, and they are now new laws that took effect on August 1st. So I don't want anyone to get in trouble for something they were unaware of. So, number one, new voter registration. Karen passed out a flyer to each of you for these items. They're two different ones. They look the same, but they have different information on them. And I'm going to have Donald post them on the Police Jury's website as well. And then I know that we're doing a press release. I think the DA's office is actually doing a press release in the newspaper as well. So we're trying to get the word out on this. But new voter registration drive law, it took effect on August 1st. Those wishing to conduct a voter registration drive have to either register in person at the Secretary of State's office or with their local registrar of voters office, or you can do it online by emailing outreach@sos.la.gov. If you're conducting a fully electronic drive by using the website or the Go Vote app and assisting people with registering with their own Louisiana driver's license, you're not required to register those drives. And then those conducting drives are required to submit registration applications to their parish registrar within 30 days of completion of the registration applications, or no later than the close of registration for the next election, whichever occurs first. So if you do a registration drive the week before the registration deadline closes, you have to submit those completed applications back to us prior to the closing of the registration deadline, so that those people that are eligible to vote in that election and under the impression that you're going to take care of that for them do not miss out on the ability to vote in that election. The election office at which individuals or groups register their drive will inform them as to the next close of registration deadline, which is something we've always done. We always put it in writing, and the registration drive person who comes in to get the application signs off, and we give them a packet with all of the laws pertaining to that. So along with their registration deadlines and early voting dates and election dates and things like that. The next one are the new absentee voting laws that took effect on August 1st. Act 380, no person except the immediate family member of the voter shall deliver by any means more than one marked ballot per election to the registrar of voters. That used to be hand delivered. Now it means you cannot deliver by any means. So if you're caught with multiple ballots that are not your immediate family members, putting them in the mail or anything like that, there are penalties now for that. Immediate family for all of these laws is defined as the individual's children, the spouses of his children, his brothers and their spouses, his sisters and their spouses, his parents, his spouse, and the parents of his spouse. Act 302, no person except the immediate family member of the voter or an employee of the Registrar of Voters or the election division of the Department of State shall assist more than one voter in completing their absentee ballot. So you cannot assist multiple people unless they're your immediate family member as defined by the law. You have one person per election. So if you have an elderly neighbor or something, you're not limited as long as it's one person per election. And there's going to be not in this election because they're going to have to change the absentee ballot affidavits that go out with the mail ballots. But it will be forthcoming that there will be a blank that requires the witnesses and the assistants relation to that person, and you'll be required to be 18 or older now, which is new as well. Act 317, no person except the immediate family member of the voter shall submit by any means more than one completed absentee ballot application to the Registrar of Voters. Further, no person, organization, or entity shall distribute an absentee ballot application to any person who has not requested it. So in the past, people would come and get big stacks of absentee ballot applications and hand them out and try to enroll people in the absentee program through the mail and stuff. And unless they ask you to do that, you can't go out and just try to hand it out. So if y'all can help us spread the word on these, like I said, I don't want people to get in trouble for doing something that has been legal in the past and is now no longer legal. That was my main purpose of coming here today. The other thing I wanted to clarify is the budget amendment that comes up later in the meeting for the registrar's office. It's a little misleading, and I think Ms. Lilly and Mr. Michael probably tried to clarify that for y'all at the last meeting. But that has absolutely zero to do with how my office is run. And as far as how our operating budget is going, we are well within our means of that. I think our travel budget and training has exceeded very slightly, less than 10%. But overall, we're living well within our means. I've never had to ask for a budget amendment ever. This comes from the increases in the number of precincts that y'all made during redistricting. We went from 37 precincts to 53. And so that comes with a cost. And all of that billing comes directly from the state. It's all directly associated with the elections itself, all of your workers, everything that comes with having more sites and things like that. And you want to compare your presidential election when you're budgeting to the last presidential election and things like that, and look at the cost per precinct and stuff like that. And because last year when y'all did redistricting, it increased from 37 precincts to 53 precincts, it's got a lot of cost increase that was not accounted for in the budgeting. So I do just want to make sure that that's clear, that it is a cost directly associated with the elections itself and not the operating budget of my office, because we believe very strongly in staying within where we're supposed to be. So does anyone have any questions? Oh, I do want to point out too real quick, I did make some recommendations when we did our annual precinct surveys, and when you redistricted, there was a freeze amongst the precincts due to the census. It's just the way the laws are written. You had to create those extra precincts, so it's not like y'all were frivolously creating a lot of extra precincts for no reason. It was what you were required to do in order to accommodate your redistricting. But every year, my office is required to do a canvass of the precincts, and any precincts that are below 300 voters that are not geographically isolated, we can make recommendations to the jury to merge them, and Jody and I just worked on that and completed that. And I don't recall the exact number of mergers, but I did recommend that many of them be merged back together now. So that will be forthcoming for next year to try to save some more money. So that's the plan. And we're gonna, I think if y'all vote to do it, I mean, it will be up to y'all whether you do it or not. We will try to, I'm trying to use the Calista Calhoun Center because the parking is so great and it's so accessible and it's so centrally located. We're looking at not using one of the sites that's within a mile of it and putting those two sites into that location, which allows you to utilize the commissioner in charge that's already there. And instead of having a whole nother $250 bill, you have a $50 bill added on, where your commissioners in charge can serve for more than one precinct and things like that. So I'm just trying to trying to get it all consolidated down where we're being the best stewards that we can be with the public's money. So that's all.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
President report? None. Council report?
None.
Administrative report?
Thank you, Mr. President. Item 1, update on the open seats and the boards. Please find attached to your administrator's report a copy of the current boards and the seats on them. Currently, you have an open seat on the Bayou Pier Fish and Game Commission and an open seat on Fire District 8's Board of Commissioners. So if y'all have some names to submit, I'm going to give y'all monthly updates on this item. Item 2, update on the debris removal. The debris removal program ended August 22nd, 2024 with 32,257 cubic yards of debris disposed in our burn pit. Finance is currently working on the reimbursements from GoSep. As you recall, under the agreement, we can get up to 75% reimbursement for the disposal of the debris. Any other debris identified in our right-of-ways due to the storm can be sent to myself or Fred Woodley with the road department and to be scheduled for cleanup, which we've been actively doing since the expiration of that debris removal. Item 3, update on the Stonewall compactor site. We have a Planning and Zoning Commission meeting in Stonewall on September 26th to change the zoning. Once the zoning has been changed, it will go as a recommendation before the Stonewall Town Council at their next scheduled meeting, which will be the second Tuesday of the following month. Item 4, road updates. Overlays have been completed for Old Union, Stonewall, Frierson, Baker, Mary Street, Brian David, Red Lick, Lisa, Red Bluff, Wright Road, Janine Lane, the east section of Sloan Road, Sleepy Hollow, and George Lick will be completed this week. Cedar Hill, Claude Dance, East K. John, West K. John, Glen Martin Road, Wright Lane, Nash Road, and King Circle are scheduled to be completed by the end of this year. Clearing and grubbing has started on the CSJ project with road work beginning soon. The design is moving forward for the Park Road project. The initial survey, hydraulic study, and the drafting for the base alignment has been completed. We're moving forward with a slab spine bridge design for the Bayou Crossing. Highway 84 turn lane is currently being advertised for bids. Bids will be received September 24th of next week. And finally, Sam's Construction was the only quote we received for the Barnes Road project. That section is currently under construction. They're out there pulling debris right now. Item 5, the 4-H roof update. The contractor is ready to start work. However, we are now waiting for the material from McElroy Metal to proceed with the project. This is expected to delay the project until October. Item 6, traffic counts. We've done some data collection on traffic counts for Red Bluff Road. We placed the counters in front of the Maple Leaf subdivision, which is a quarter of a mile from the Louisiana Highway 175 for about 8 days. During this period, we tracked between 550 to 620 vehicles each day. We're going to be placing these devices on other roads throughout the parish to measure traffic counts. This will assist us in determining the amount of traffic traveling and allow us to plan future road projects accordingly. Item 7, the HB2 state funding update. The jury currently has 2 pots of money we've received from HB2. The first pot was $1.6 million in 23, and the second was the $8 million from 2024 legislative session. We just received last week, I believe it was Thursday or Friday, the CEA for the $1.6 million, and we anticipate the CEA for the $8 million any time now. However, we still have no kickoff meeting scheduled with the state, which is required to utilize the money. Item number 8, the hog eradication update. The USDA is currently trapping more hogs at the landfill. As you recall, they trapped 79 in the first round. It is anticipated that we still have around 200 to 300 more to capture out there and kill. As well, I was just notified last week by the airport director that we have hog issue at the airport as well.
Really?
I will be meeting with the USDA out there this week to go over a plan of action in regards to that hog eradication. And y'all recall, the USDA agent doesn't cost us a dime. The federal taxpayers are paying for that, or us taxpayers are paying for that. So they're helping us with that. Item 9, the budget meetings for 2025. If you would please find attached to your administrative report a calendar of events as it relates to the budget preparations for 2025 budget. We are scheduling our kickoff meetings with the department heads beginning next week. That's my report. Does anybody have any specific questions? Yes, sir.
Excuse me, is our overlay machine down?
Yes. The overlay machine has been down and the tack truck. We lost the tack truck and 3 of our dump trucks as well. And that
The
burned.
overlay machine, wasn't it fixed, then it broke back down again?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's why we've had to utilize a lot of the contractors, hiring contractors to do the laydowns. But it's my hope that we will have the laydown machine up and running for next year. So,
Thank you, Mr. Norton.
yes, sir.
Lobbyist report, Mr. Chance. Good evening, Mr. Chance.
Good afternoon. Chance McNeely. Good to be with y'all. I have a guest today.
See.
Senator Thomas Presley has joined us. I'd hoped to get him in right after the session, but, different scheduling issues. We're glad to have him come talk about kind of what has transpired in state government, broadly, but also with respect to, the work for the jury. I would point out, just before I kick it over to Thomas, as Administrator Norton said, things are progressing well with the state, with the CEAs in order for y'all to get the money from HB2. I'm very aware of other local government entities who have not had as much progress. So y'all's staff is really on the ball to make sure that those dollars are, actually spent. Senator Presley can tell you that it's bad when you get money and then you don't spend it, when we're asking for more. And so with that in mind, I'll just kind of turn it over to the senator and let him say a few words.
Thank you, Chance, and thank you all for allowing me the opportunity to say a few words. I'm Thomas Presley. I represent Senate District 38, which includes basically a 45-degree angle from Logansport to Stonewall North in DeSoto Parish. Honored to have the opportunity to serve and honored the opportunity to speak to you today. Thank you for your service to our community and to the district. As Chance mentioned, we were able to get $8 million in capital outlay this year for in HB2, which is the largest amount of money that's ever been collected for the DeSoto Parish police jury for roads. So we were very happy to have accomplished that. Obviously, we know that DeSoto Parish is continuing to send a large amount of money from the severance tax down to Baton Rouge. I'm continuing to work on what we're going to do on changing that formula and make sure that more money comes back to our local governments and back to the people of DeSoto Parish, as well as the other parishes that are paying a large amount of money in severance tax. There's a lot of discussion right now on changing the tax code in Louisiana. There may be a special session at some point in November dealing with our tax policy. We are looking at a fiscal cliff for the upcoming session in 2025 from a state budgeting standpoint. Of course, the 0.45 sales tax will roll off unless something is changed on that front and extending that. But I think the bigger view of many of us in the legislature, as well as the governor, based on the conversations that I've had, is really looking at comprehensive tax reform. When you look at Louisiana comparatively to our sister states, we haven't grown since 1910. So when you talk about the challenges facing Louisiana, a lot of people want to place it on the last governor or the governor before that or the governor before that. The truth of the matter is we have a systematic challenge in Louisiana that we've got to address. And I believe that tax policy is a big part of that. I think occupational licensing is also a challenge that we face. We have more than twice the number of occupations in the state than other states in the country that require a license in order to do your job. And so we brought some legislation this year. We're able to work on moving forward on that. But we're going to continue to push on the tax reform front as well. When you look around the country at the states that are growing, Texas, Tennessee, Florida, Washington State, which is, of course, a blue state, they have one thing in common, and it's no personal income tax. So I'd like to move more in that direction, but of course we need to pay for local services or for state services and state government. And so that balance and how we're going to do that, I think, is important as well as looking at areas that maybe we should be changing the way that that we look at services. So those are things that are going on in Baton Rouge. I think many of you have my cell phone number. I'd happy to give it to you off the record and share that, as well as my office is always open and available for you. If there are issues that come up that you have constituent needs, I'm happy to help address those as best I can. But as Chance said, and Chance did a fantastic job as the lobbyist this year for DeSoto Parish, we were very happy with the money that we were able to get in capital outlay, and really the conversation that we had about the severance tax and the need for money to come back to the locals. So appreciate the work that you did, Chance, and Michael back there as well, and happy to help with anything I can, and I'm happy to answer any questions as well.
Any questions?
I have one concern.
Sure.
A lot of our state roads are getting really almost undrivable. I don't know if you came in on 175 coming in. Once you get out, it gets pretty bad. If you get on Polk Street, that connects to 84. It's pretty bad, especially over in the right lane if you're going east. I think some of our roads are just, in state roads or federal roads, kind of getting out of hand.
Sure. Yeah, no doubt. And I think that's part of the dollars that we're sending back to the parish to make sure that it is a priority that we work on our roads. I think the last governor and last legislature wanted to put more money towards our roads. We're seeing that in our region. Unfortunately, the state government moves at a snail's pace. I wish I could snap my fingers and make sure that we've had the $1.6 million from last year's budget up here for roads. I wish we had the $8 million today. But the good news is that we were able to get it in the budget. When we look at state roads as well, I've had lots of conversations with DOTD and the regional DOTD office, David North's office, about the challenges that we are seeing and we're continuing to see. But I think DeSoto Parish is really unique in the challenges that we have on our roads as well because of the heavy water trucks that are going around and moving around this parish, more so than many other parishes in the state. And I think that if we can move more of that severance tax money back to the local parishes where it's coming out of, it would make more sense to be able to fix those roads. And whether it be on the state level or the parish level, I think that's really important. But we're continuing to push for more dollars to be spent in DeSoto Parish on the roads and make sure that it's drivable. Because you're right, it's inexcusable in a parish that's sending as much money as this parish is to Baton Rouge that our roads be as poor as they are.
My second part of that, doesn't the federal government send the state money?
The federal government does.
84, I think 84, 175, those really are federal roads, are correct?
So I'm not sure.
No, taken care of by the state.
I'm not sure specifically on if it's a state highway or a federal highway. I will say, the federal government sends match dollars to the state, and the state DOTD works on applying that match appropriately to our priority projects. So there is federal match dollars that come down, but it's not necessarily that every road has federal match dollars that come with it. And a lot of red tape also comes with those federal match dollars as far as the process that has to be undertaken in order to use the federal funds. So oftentimes we're better off on the short term and using some state funds, using some local funds, so you don't have to go through the background process to make sure that some ant is not protected that's going to possibly be harmed. So that's part of it as well.
Rich and I get a chance to go to NACO, and we get a chance to meet with some of those officials to handle the federal roads, and we get a chance to kind of vent with them a little bit. And that's where I got that from. They send the money down and let the state, repair the roads or take care of the roads.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and when you look at the highway system, for example, the interstate system, certainly there's dollars that come in from the feds for those match dollars. That the work going on I-20, for example, is a lot of that is federal dollars that are being used. But there's always that state match as well.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Just in in closing, I've said this to y'all before, but I'll say it again in his presence. Getting $8 million when every senator, every member of the legislature, has so much influence and efforts that they can do to bring things home, to make things happen for their district. And I just would like to say on the record, like, that's a substantial victory for any legislator to achieve. Senator Presley is on the Senate Finance Committee, and I think gave a pretty compelling testimony about what's happening in DeSoto Parish with respect to the severance tax, and that was kind of early on in the session, and those conversations kept occurring over the course of the session that ended with the dollars where they are. We can't assume that it will always be so victorious in the future. We have, as the senator said, we have budget cuts, projected deficits coming, and certainly, the available dollars for road projects like this could be tighter, and so. If they do come in and do a session in November and somehow, the deficit goes away because of whatever they do, then that would put us in a better position to go fight for more dollars. But certainly in the absence of that, next session, it'll be a cut mentality, or at least stop the bleeding kind of mentality, which we haven't really seen since the very beginning of Governor Edwards's term, 8 years ago. So, but that's all for us. So thank you for your time, and it's good to see y'all.
Thank you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you much.
Treasurer, financial report.
Good evening. For the month of August, we received $7.1 million in revenues in the general fund, while the expenses were $5.9 million. The building maintenance and the economic development portion of that general fund is slightly over the expected expense, but the overall fund is at 48% for total expenditure, so we're within budget. Road fund, we received $11.5 million in revenues. We are continuing to see the decrease in sales tax revenues. It's approximately 14% below projections. Public work expenditures are below projections by 2%, while the capital outlay is at roughly 10%. Overall, the fund is at 34% for total expenditures. Witness and jurors, revenues are at 72%, while expenditures are at 25%. The jail fund, we collected $926,406 in sales tax and interest earnings. That's a decrease of 12% from the projected amount. Their operational expenses are at 56%, while the capital outlay is at 63%. Solid waste, we received $11.6 million in revenues. Sales tax collections are about 14% less than expected. The tipping fee collections are at 65%, so right where they need to be as projections. Landfill operation expenses are at 67%, while compactor sites are at 58%. Our criminal court fund, we received $474,792 in revenues, and we paid out $357,908 with a net change of $116,883. Office of Community Services, total revenue collected was $930,832, while the total expenses paid out was $984,261. So we did spend more than we collected, but we have not received reimbursements from July and August. But we're working on that to submit the request by the end of this month. Airport revenues at 59%, while the expenses are at 55%. Rental assistance revenues at 69% and expenses at 67%. E-sewer fund, $24,937 in expenditures, and this fund will be closed at the end of this year. Animal services, total revenues are at 115%, while the expenses are at 72%. That revenue, of course, includes what we transfer in and that donation of medication. The sinking fund, our interests are $34,076 as of the end of August 2024. The self-insurance, we did not make a transfer of revenue into that fund for August. However, I'll be doing that this month. Our expenses that we paid out are at $144,401. Just to let you know, we are receiving claim invoices on a weekly basis that we're reconciling, and then the prescription benefits and claims are coming once a month. But we are starting to see claims on a weekly basis. Does anybody have any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Lilly? No, thank you, Ms. Lilly. Approval of the minutes. Approval of the financial report. I have a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Jones, second by Mrs. Simpson. Discussion? There's no discussion. Please vote. Motion passes. Approval of minutes, August 19th, 2024, public hearing, regular meeting and special meeting, September the 3rd, 2024. Administrative, Budget and Finance, Building, Properties, and Road Committee.
So
We have a
moved without-
motion.
I think someone without necessary correction.
I have a motion by Mr. Fuller. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Clark. Any discussions on approval of the minutes? There's no discussion. Please vote. Motion passes. Administrative item, please.
All right, administrative items. Item number 6, authorize the president to execute a resolution for Cypress Energy Corporation requesting the DeSoto Parish Police Jury place for sealed bid with Louisiana Department of Natural Resources.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Have a motion?
Second.
Have a motion by Mr. Lathan, second by Mr. Fuller. Discussion on this item? There's no discussion, please vote. Motion passes.
All right, item number 7, authorize reinstating IBTS third-party provider service in the unincorporated areas of the parish.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Clark, second by Mr. Raines. Discussion on this item?
Yes,
That-
what, I'm sorry, what, and get a little bit more elaboration on?
This is this the fiber?
No, this is, you have third-party inspectors who inspect properties that are built in the parish. Right now, we have 3 that we utilize, and this will be the 4th one?
Four or
Four.
five currently.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
This is due to the building code inspection.
Right.
Yeah.
commercial building codes. This is allowing this company to serve as one of those third-party inspectors that works on our behalf.
Okay.
Any more questions? There's no more question, please vote. Motion passes.
Item number 8, authorize the administrator to execute the Clico Power LLC servitude agreement.
So move.
Got a motion by Mr. Jones. Do we have a
Second.
second by Mr. Holmes? Discussion? There's no discussion, please vote. Motion passes.
Item number 9, authorize the president to execute a resolution delegating to the clerk of court to recommend election day polling locations to the police jury.
I make the motion.
Got a motion by Mr. Lathan,
Second.
second by Mr. Raines. Discussion? There's no discussion, please vote. Motion passes. Budget and Finance, is that Mr. Jones?
Yes, Budget and Finance, amend the general fund budget up to $90,000, additional funding for repairs and additions to the splash pad at Alumni Park.
So move.
Got a motion by Mr. Fuller,
Second.
second by Mr. Clark. And just notation, this is coming more, majority of the money out of Mr. Jones' ARCA money.
Right.
There's no more discussion, please vote.
How much additions are we doing? I mean, when we brought that up earlier in the year to okay the splash pad, it was for repair of the splash pad. That's what we were gonna do, and now it says additions and repairs.
I think the pad that is there is,
90,000 is the addition, I think.
right.
Do what?
90,000 is the addition, along with my 100,000.
For the addition and pad that is already there, correct?
Right.
Well, I thought what we were doing was repairing what was there, and that's what we were gonna do. I didn't know we were gonna be adding on to it or was it making it bigger, an addition?
Yeah, we're adding on to it to make it more bigger,
Some pictures.
because if I'd known that that was what they was gonna put the first time, I wouldn't have got that. The pad really wasn't attractive with it, wasn't,
Yeah.
really wasn't good, wasn't a good pad. And then on top of that, it didn't even work.
How much did the original pad cost?
I have no idea. I remember
I
that.
think that portion, I mean, that was a bigger project out there, but that portion was around 200 to 250, I believe. I think it was around that amount.
But I think that was included with all the playground.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all
that
the
was included on
playground,
the playground
all the
stuff,
upgrades
so-
out there was over 600,000. I'm saying just the splash pad portion was extremely costly at that time.
Well, I just don't know. I mean, it's, I understand we talked about it earlier in the year, and he was gonna use this $100,000 ARPA money, but that was to repair what was there. I didn't know we were planning on doing an addition, and we're going to give him another $90,000. And personally, I didn't get another $90,000. I was held to my $100,000 ARPA money. That's all I got, to do the things I needed to do or wanted to do. So I just feel like it needs to be held to his money. That's just my personal opinion, and the fact that when we did discuss it a year ago, it was to repair what was there. And now it's changed, and we're repairing and making an addition.
Well, we saw, most time, whenever you do repairs on anything, especially anything that's been that old, you're gonna use way more money than you did to even put it there. So that's where they come in at. And it's just a vote. It's just a vote.
And I'm sure
I mean,
between now and last year, prices done went up.
so, I mean, it's just a vote.
Why haven't we already done it, Michael, earlier in the year? I mean, he's had this money we've had it
It's not for lack of trying. We've tried to
No.
get, some.
Splash pad time of the year is about over with now, you know?
Right,
It's
thi-
hard, it's hard to find people who will do that. Ms. Lady could tell you, she worked on that, Kevin worked on that pretty much a whole year, trying to find the right people, because people who originally put it in went out of business. That's what happened when you do stuff, a lot of things, and it'd be a long time before you get it repaired. The people who inserted it or put it in place go out of business. So of course, when you get someone to work on it, they first gotta, our guys tried to keep it going as much as they could. But, just got to the point where you couldn't work on it anymore. You had to change it out.
Okay. If there's no more discussion, please vote. Motion passes. Item number 11.
Amend the general fund budget in the amount of $60,000 for election expenses.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Got a motion by Mrs. Simpson, second by Mr. Raines. Discussion.
Just to follow up on this, Ms. Burrell made the request that we give her all the invoicing for those expenses.
Yeah.
We are going to do that after the expenses come in for the year for all the elections, just to let y'all know, so.
Okay, thank you. Please vote if no more discussion. Motion passes. Bills and properties.
Authorize DeSoto Athletics cutting a baseball diamond at the Alumni Park and DeSoto Parish Police Jury purchasing the equipment.
I'll make the motion.
A motion by Mr. Lathan,
Second.
second by Mr. Jones. Discussion. There's no discussion, please vote. Motion passes. Road items, please.
Allow speed bumps in neighborhoods only and rumple strips on major through roads.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by
Motion.
Mr. Raines,
Second.
second by Mrs. Simpson. Discussion.
Yes, question. If you don't know, you ask, what are rumble strips? What-
Strips that you can go on the road and you can go over like higher. It's not like a speed bump. where you have to
Okay.
stop.
Like the little pads in the center of the road,
Oh.
but they're all
okay.
together.
Gotcha.
A physical warning of
Yeah. Okay, if there's no more question, please vote. Motion passes.
Okay, and the last item, authorize the E911 naming of Star City Private Lane south of Board Road in Grand Canyon.
A motion by Mr. Fuller,
Second.
second by Mrs. Simpson. Discussion. There's no discussion, please vote. Motion passes. A motion to adjourn. A motion by Mrs. Simpson and Mr. Clark. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We adjourn. Thank you. Good evening, everyone.